Hello everyone, this is John Brewer and I am pleased, very pleased, to provide a Qigong lesson for you featuring the 8 brocades. Yesterday I did a 20-minute video reviewing the first 4 of the 8 brocades, and today I'm going to introduce brocades 5 through 8. In so doing, I will serve as your mirror. So when I move in the direction of my right, you'll move to your left. Any gesture, my left, your right, just as if you were looking into a mirror. That's how we'll proceed with this. From the outset though, I want to remind you that this video and the review video will both be in Wellness Within's YouTube channel for you. There'll also be an email sent that's going to have links to short videos of each of the 8 brocades and a flow through the brocades from one to the other. So you'll have that, as well as attachments to that email that'll describe each of the brocades in terms of how to do them, but very importantly also the benefits for doing them. So you'll have all of that. So today we're going to concentrate on the movements. And for each of these 4, I will demonstrate the movement for you, and then we'll add in this sinking down and rising up that goes along with the how we do the 8 brocades. It's about connecting with Earth, the biosphere, all life around us, and sky. Just serving as something like a chi pump, drawing in fresh energy to support health and wellness within our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. We'll also incorporate coordinating the breathing. I want to say from the outset though, if just getting comfortable with the movements is plenty for now, then that's plenty for now. You can always come back and review the videos and over time become comfortable with coordinating the up and down and the breathing. So just relax, enjoy the ride. So let's go ahead and begin with our feet shoulder width apart. And the first brocade that we'll do, it's brocade 5, it's called Tracing the Channels. I invite you to observe me one time, and then we'll do it together. And basically, we're going to start with forming an inverted triangle around the belly button area, and then moving up the center line. The triangle comes upright, and we wash our face so the hands can gently touch the skin, the hair, the neck, the shoulders, or be maybe ½ an inch away from the body. That works as well, under the rib cage. And then we'll have our hands, palms facing inward on our low back, maybe even as high as our kidneys. From there, we're going to do bend forward. And you have a choice to make here. The bend forward can be at the waist. The bend forward can be one vertebra at a time, the way I like to do it. And the bend forward needs to be only as far forward as is comfortable for you. So if your bend forward stops here, this is what your body says is enough for today, it's perfect. If your body goes further than that, that's perfect too. You get the same benefit. So as we're doing this bend forward, the fingertips trace the back of the legs, and then they trace forward in front of the toes, and we come up from this inversion. This is one way to come up. Just raising up one vertebra at a time. Let's return to this inverted position, because to support your back, another way to come up from an inverted bend would be to sink down into your knees, kind of support yourself in coming up. And a third way is coming up, is using your hands to support yourself coming back to the upright position. Important thing here, really caring for our backs. Okay, let's do this together, just concentrating on the movement. Forming an upside down triangle about the belly button level. moves up the center line. Round the level of the heart, the triangle turns upward. You separate the hands, wash your face, head, neck, shoulders, come down the center line, under the rib cage, to the small of your back, palms inward. Do a forward bend in a way that works for you. Fingertips going down the backs of your legs as far as you can manage. Then the fingertips come to the front where your toes are, and then come up with your arms extended in front of you. And back down. So notice we're sinking down to our starting position. We're lifting up. We're sinking down. And we're lifting up. And now we're doing our forward bend. Sinking down. And coming back up, rising up on an in-breath. Sinking down on an out-breath to our starting position. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. Inversion, fingertips and hands down the back of your legs. Circle to the front. And coming up on an in-breath. Sinking down on an out-breath. And we'll do our transition here. Between each of the 8 brocades is this transition. Next we'll move to wise owl gazes backwards. Had to remember that one. Alright, this one is simple. You'll enjoy the simplicity, and yet there are some complexities in terms of the micro movements involved. But to get us started, we're simply going to gaze. I'm going to gaze over my left shoulder, and you'll gaze over your right shoulder. Come back to center. Gaze to the opposite direction. Come back to center. Now we're going to add, so our hands are going to be involved here. So when we start in this neutral relaxed position, palms are facing backwards behind me. And when we gaze, we open up like an owl spreading her wings as we gaze backward. And as we come forward into this relaxed position, palms face back. Now the opposite direction, palms forward, palms back. Now breathe in, gaze, my left, your right, palms out. Come forward. Breathe out, sink, palms facing the back. Breathe in, rise up, gaze over the opposite shoulder. Sink down, breathe out, and relax. Palms facing backward. Do our transition. Now, I mentioned micro movements, so before we leave wise owl gazes backwards, when we're turning, we're not rotating the hips, we're not engaging the knees like this to turn and look back. We're just turning at the waist. The hips aren't turning, we're turning at the waist to make our gaze. So each of us will have more or less flexibility to make that turn. Stay in your comfort zone. We're making this little turn here. You might notice your shoulder blades moving towards one another as if they were kissing. This is a good part, a little micro movement there. So it sort of opens the heart up. And so as we turn our hands and turn, you'll see your shoulders are engaged, your arms are engaged, so we're putting some effort into this. And then when we come back to the front, relaxation. So in the low back, we make the turn. You can feel the micro movements in the low back, spine, and that relaxes as you come back to center. So there's really a lot going on in what is, on the surface level, very simple. Very good. Let's move on now to drawing the bow. So for drawing the bow, we're going to step out into a wider stance called the horse stance. Sink down a little, as much as is comfortable. And then don't overextend yourself in terms of a wide stance. Find a comfortable stance for yourself, a little bit wider than shoulder width if you can. And here we're just going to concentrate on the movement, drawing the bow. The arms float up right in front of you. Now, with my left hand, your right, we're going to create an L shape. Turn that L shape to face my left, your right, as if you're holding a bow there. And now we're going to engage the bow with this hand, and we're going to draw, as if we're drawing a bowstring back, extending out. Here we have some isometrics. We're using our musculature in our arms, backs, and chest to form this posture. Have the sense of releasing the bow, releasing the arrow, shooting the arrow. Then the hand that's been extended sweeps around to the front and re-engages that L that we're creating. The other fingers are lightly folded, and we turn that L to face the opposite side. And draw back as if we're drawing a bowstring back. And release. Now the arm that's extended just sweeps back to the center, and they meet right here. So let's look at the rising up and the sinking down. So we're going to start in this relaxed position where we're taking an in-breath and out-breath. In-breath, rising up, out-breath, sinking down. Form your bow. Breathe in, rising up. Release, breathe out, sinking down, coming back to the center. Breathe in, rise up. Release, sink down. Extended arm sweeps to the front, to the center, as we sink down, breathing out. Now breathe in, rise up, release the arrow. One more time to the opposite direction. We're sinking down, breathing out. Rising up, breathing in, and release. Now we just do our transition movement. Come back to shoulder width apart. Really relaxing, just a brief integration of the effort we've put into each of the brocades and just allowing a bit of integration. Also gives you a chance to think about what's coming next. And what's coming next is Brocade 8. And it is bouncing on the toes. So, quite simple. Feet are shoulder width apart. We simply come up on our tiptoes, but being careful about balance, of course. Coming up on tiptoes, but not so far that you lose balance. And then just releasing down, letting your body shake. So soft knees, up on the toes, release down. It's called bouncing on the toes. And what it's designed to do is, given all the practice of the 8 brocades, the first 7, this gives us a chance to circulate all this energy. Just sort of lets us circulate this energy throughout our system. And at the same time, it's a great way just to release anything that we haven't yet released through our practice. That's not serving us. So that's essentially it, but we do involve our hands and arms. Interestingly, they're placed over our ears. And as we get comfortable with this, we can actually close off our hearing a bit. And what this will do you can almost sense energy moving when closing off the ears. but we're also connecting with the greater forces of nature, including the energy of the sky, the energy of thunder, of lightning. You can feel or sense something like a distant thunder when you do this movement. So, as you know, the pressure you want to use, just do it lightly to begin with, to get a sense of this whole thing about closing off the hearing while doing bouncing on the toes. We'll do it 7 times. That's traditional. You can make it your own and select the number of repetitions that works best for you. So, excuse me just a moment. I want to find a tissue paper. Okay. Sorry about that. So bouncing on the toes, we start by breathing out, sinking down. Lift up. We're not on our toes yet. Sink down. Rise up. Hands over our ears, lightly to begin with. Adding the breathing. Breathe out. Breathe in. Rising up. Breathe out, sinking down. Breathe in, rising up. Breathe out, sinking down. Now, come up on your tiptoes. Breathe in. Release down, shake, breathe out. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. 4 more. Out. In. Out. Shake. In. Out. Bouncing. 1 more. And bouncing. Do our transition. And our close. Rotating the shoulders, looking up, sinking down, breathing out, and then offering one another a gesture of respect, of reverence. Namaste. Very good. All right, let's do a flow of all of the 8 brocades without much talking. Just a sense of, hey, this is where we're heading, is to put this into a flow. That said, each brocade in and of itself on its own can be practiced singularly. And we also have the option of putting them together into a flow. So let us do that. Feet starting together as we open and step out. Brocade 1, propping up the sky. Transition. Step out into a wider stance for punching with tiger's eyes. Breathe in here. Before the punch, breathe out, rise up. Gather chi. And punching on an out breath while rising up and gather chi. Transition. Brocade 3, touching heaven and earth. Transition. Step out to a wider stance. Big bear turning left and right. Breathe in. Safe bend. And circle. Breath in here and out as we circle, down. Breath all the way out here and start an in-breath here. Transition. Brocade 5, tracing the meridians. Brocade 6, wise owl gazes backwards. Transition. Stepping out into that horse stance, sinking down. Breathe in, rising up. Let's form our bow, sinking down, breathing out. Draw the bow, rise up, breathe in. Release. Let's do it again. Transition. Bouncing on the toes. Up on our tiptoes. Bounce. Transition. Close. And namaste. Wishing you health, happiness, wholeness, many, many, many blessings. May you be well. I hope this practice in this video is helpful and the resources that will come along with it. And I'm hoping we continue with this and I get to make more videos next week. Meanwhile, just have a wonderful week. Take good care of yourselves and those that you are living with. Take very good care. Do our best to get through the challenges we're facing right now and support our health and well-being and those of those that we love. Thank you to Wellness Within.